Hello, hello, hello. What is going on? Uh, Very glad to be here. We are the Dolphins Dive. My name is Justin. I'm joined by Connor. It's
Good.
been a little bit since we've had a show together. We've both been a little busy. Connor has work. I've moved into college. I've been very busy here at college, but we do have a show upcoming this Sunday. Hopefully, we're gonna
Yep.
we'll get into a little bit of that at the end. But I just want to thank you, Stadium, Nick, Frankie, the whole crew, especially Henry, for setting all this up, giving us a chance to come on for this very good cause. Hoping everybody out in New Orleans is all right. Hoping everyone's okay. For everybody who's watching, please consider donating. All proceeds go to the American Red Cross for disaster relief. And also be sure to participate in the auctions. They are giving away, I believe, signed mini helmets from J.C. Horn, Micah Parsons, Justin Fields, and Charles Leno, and also a game-worn
Stud group.
jersey from Cameron Jordan, one of the best edge defenders in the NFL. So be sure to get on that. In on that. Again, all proceeds going to disaster relief. Shout out to the Stadium crew. Once again, follow the Dolphins Dive on Instagram, on Twitter. Join us on the U Stadium app. Um, and how about we just jump right into it? So today, for this little segment that we got going on, we're going to be going through the Miami Dolphins schedule game by game.
Once
Offering
again,
our
once again,
predictions.
Frankie, your whole thing today was so out of line. Okay,
Yeah, what's up with
listen,
that, man?
he literally had the Dolphins as his bus team, and okay, if it was like over under, I can understand taking the under, but you were slandering them. Okay, I can't be having that. Tua is, I don't know who said it, but he's one of the best RPO quarterbacks in the game. That's what we're gonna be doing. And I don't care. Yes, our receivers are not going to be able to stay healthy. I understand that. Good.
Oh man, Connor's got a little bit of thing going on. Uh, Hopefully, we get all that sorted out. But oh my God, it's Shade OD. Can I get your autograph? Of course, if I can find a way to get it to you. Hopefully, Connor figures all that out. But before we get into the whole prediction thing, I'll sit here and talk about the Watson situation for a little bit. I have plenty of thoughts on that. Um, so from what I'm hearing, I forget who broke the news. I forget who broke the news. It was some guy who works for Yahoo, but he said he was the one who was like the Dolphins are the front runner right now. They're if anybody's going to make a trade for Watson, it's going to be Miami. The next day, like literally the very next day, he hops on a podcast. He says, "Yeah, that was a whole like process of elimination thing. All the other teams have kind of like backed out of it because of the price and the da da da, whatnot, the legal situation, which I won't get into because there's so much going on there that we don't know about. But he hops on the podcast the next day. He goes, "Yeah, it's just basically a process of elimination. Miami was the only team that was really showing any sort of interest left, but they haven't talked in months." So I was just like, okay, well, what was the point of all that then? That's what I was thinking. I was like, and I would have been totally okay with the Watson trade if it happened 4 weeks ago, maybe a month ago or so. I got Connor coming back, but I would have been okay with the Watson trade about like 4 months ago. At the beginning of the preseason, the beginning of training camp. That's when I would have pulled the trigger if Miami was going to do it. To do it now with 2 weeks before the season, after Tua, played pretty well during the preseason. Granted, it was not against the greatest competition in the world, but he looked great. He looked very much improved from last year. He looks stronger. He looks more confident. He looks more decisive. Doing it now after that showing, and with only 2 weeks to get acclimated into the system, learn the playbook and all that, it just doesn't make sense to me. And
All right. So the report I saw was that it's basically all Stephen Ross and just
yeah,
wanting to win a Super Bowl, but it's so reckless with the potential thing that's legally that's going to happen.
mm-hmm.
You have a bright future with plenty of picks. Like, just keep building your team. Like, when the Seahawks won the Super Bowl with Russ was not Russ. Like, he was carried by his team. The Dolphins are pretty close to being able to do that. I'm not saying they're there, but they're close.
Yeah. They're on the right track, anyways. They got to have a few more good drafts. But yeah, I was about to get into that. Like bombshell report came out today. Like Stephen Ross is the one who's pushing for Watson, and Stephen Ross has been a very hands-off owner ever since the whole Adam Gase era. Like before all of that, the Philbin era, the Gase era, he was very, like involved with the organization. I'm glad that, he's taking a step back. He's kind of like hands off. He's letting Greer and Flores do their thing, and just being a hands off owner. I don't want him to come in and be like trade for Watson, banging the table for him and just like completely, throwing everything out of whack. That's been going right now. It's like, why can't we have nice things?
That's like what Washington did with Haskins. I don't think their coaches like no one wanted Haskins, and then the owner like forced Haskins, and you saw how that turned out. So
yeah, owners should definitely be staying out of player personnel, that sort of thing. Shout out Malik, a friend from a Discord that I'm in. But yeah, I mean the whole Watson situation is just weird. I agree that like Watson, putting Watson on this team right now makes us Super Bowl contenders, and I would love that. I would love to be instant Super Bowl contenders. But just like given the situation, the context, 2 weeks before the season, the legal situation.
Yeah, because like even Brady mentioned last year, it literally took him to like week 12 for the greatest player of all time, this probably the smartest football player of all time, to get comfortable in a playbook. Now you're talking about a guy who's, granted, Watson's a superstar, but to get acclimated to a brand new surroundings, it's like offense, like you're not going to learn a playbook in 2 weeks. So it's going to take time. Like just build with what you got.
Yeah. And even like Patrick Mahomes, he admitted, like, I think it was like earlier this year, it took him about till like midway through his second year of playing for him to like truly understand the playbook. Before that, he was just kind of slinging it around. And granted, doing that, slinging it around, he had a 50 touchdown season. But like, it just doesn't make sense to do it right now. I say if Tua shows out, you keep him, you stick the road with him, continue to build around him. But if he doesn't, if we end up being wrong about Tua, which is a possibility, then you gotta be realistic. But I believe Tua will be fine. But like in the case that like, maybe the injuries come back or maybe he doesn't, progress or anything like that, then after this season, granted that the legal situation has whoa, we got a little bit of breaking news here. Bears cut rookie Daz. That's a shocker. Okay. We'll get back. I want to talk about this for a minute, being a UNC fan. Daz Newsome. I believe Daz Newsome was like one of the more underrated wide receiver prospects of this draft. He's a great deep ball guy. And I believe he could have a spot on any team who's in need of a little speed and need of a little playmaking. Get him out in space, some screens, some slants, or even just like throw him on the fly route because teams have to respect that speed that he has. Sam Howell had plenty of, big plays. I didn't have
a lot of good receivers getting cut.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, and we'll get into cuts, as they happen. The deadline is 4:00. But yeah. So
I just want to address Frankie's comment. Dolphin. That's a fair point. If the weapons are healthy, Tua will be good. But I think Tua's shown progress throwing to our back end guys just throughout practice and preseason. Like Tua's favorite target right now has been Mac Hollins. Like he's through the off season when he's practicing with these guys, he's really built chemistry. Because obviously Alabama, everyone was open. I acknowledge that, but I think he's taken a step to be able to throw to his different kind of receivers. So I think obviously if his healthy receivers are healthy, it just makes the offense, not even him, the offense way better. But I think it won't look like last year in terms of not having the weapons and how bad the offense will look. I think it'll be a little better.
Yeah. So with all that said, the Tua talk, the Watson talk, the Daz Newsome talk, a little bit of a shocker. How about if we can get our little presentation pulled up here? Shout out to producer Henry, producer Splash. Connor and I will be going through the entire Dolphins schedule and offering our game-by-game predictions and analysis. And we'll, on our next show, our tentative date is Sunday. We're going to expand that, not just the Dolphins schedule, but the entire NFL. We're going to go game by game, every single game, predict every team's record, and go all the way up to the playoffs and the Super Bowl. That's what we're hoping to do. So how about we just jump right into it? We'll go right into our Week 1 matchup: the Dolphins at the Patriots.
This is gonna be a game.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting game. Tua versus Mac Jones, Week 1. Former Alabama teammates. Dolphins in Foxborough. Last time they were in No, it wasn't last time. Last time they were in Foxborough, Week 1 of last year. Fitzpatrick, threw 3 interceptions. Miami ended up losing 21-11. But the last time they were in Foxborough before that, we have this picture right up here. Mike Gesicki catching the game-winning touchdown, keeping the Patriots out of a first-round bye. So they split the last 2. Connor, what do you think happens here in Foxborough Week 1?
Man, because this is such like a test because you don't know because these teams have been working on specific things. Like the Dolphins, their main thing has been working on that run defense and obviously the offense. But the Patriots are going to come and try and run the ball down your fucking throat.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse my language. So if the Dolphins can withstand that, I really think the Dolphins are going to come out hot. And I like to usually give, like, in the division, each team will go 500 kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But for the sake of it, I think I'm going to start the Dolphins out with a dub. I think the offense is going to look better, and the defense will be able to handle the run. So I'm gonna give Dolphins win here, but it will factor into the next time they play because I think I usually like to do 1-1, but I give Dolphins.
Sorry, so we got a Dolphins W for Connor. My prediction, I'm gonna go. I mean, it's a really tough matchup because these teams. I believe Miami, has a little bit more firepower, a little bit more talent on the roster. The Patriots are getting a lot of guys back. And, Bill Belichick, obviously the greatest coach of all time. But the big wild card here is obviously Mac Jones, who was just announced the starter today with the surprise release of Cam Newton, which has been discussed, on here quite a bit. So I believe if Cam Newton had remained on the team and if Cam Newton was starting this game, I believe the Patriots would have had a chance to come out on top here. I believe I probably would have given them the W. But now that it's Mac Jones playing in his first career game against a Brian Flores and Josh Boyer defense,
that's true.
I believe that Miami is going to come out on top in a slugfest, a low-scoring game like 20-17, something along that line. It's going to be a close game.
It's going to come down to the run defense. If they can stop the run and make it hard for Mac, I think we'll take it up.
As we all know, Miami struggles against mobile quarterbacks. Mac Jones, not exactly the most athletic person in the world. I would much rather face Mac Jones in his first career game than Cam Newton once again. So, yeah, I'm gonna end up giving Miami a W here. So we're both starting them off 1-0.
Okay,
they play the Patriots again week 14, I think it is. I'm not entirely sure. Okay. Somewhere in that range toward the end of the season. But 1-0 start. How about we go on to week 2? The Bills at the Dolphins. This matchup, much maligned matchup in the Dolphins fan base. Once again, playing at home in week 2 against Buffalo. I believe this is a repeat of last year's beginning 2 weeks. Last year,
I think so.
It was Josh Allen's kind of breakout game. He tore us to shreds early and ended up coming away with. Yeah, I believe it was 31-23, somewhere in that range. But it was a very good game for Josh Allen. But what do you think happens here week 2 about the Dolphins?
I'm gonna go with a Dolphins loss. But these things are so hard to predict, especially in division. Mm-hmm. But the Dolphins have not shown a capability of. I mean, Brian Daboll's just straight out strategized the Dolphins defense. Like the last week of the season, he did some crazy thing where he literally motion snapped the receiver to block. And what the Dolphins do is they'll send like 7 guys, but only 4 will actually rush. The other 3, they'll touch a guy and then drop back. So he knew that that's what they do. So he blocked like 6 or 7 and then just ran a double move and torched us. Like that's going to happen every time. It's just they've shown an ability to do what I don't think I've seen another offense do. It's just torch our defense. So I'm going to give the Bills a dub this game, unfortunately.
Yeah, Brian Daboll seems to be the one offensive coordinator, play caller that Miami hasn't been able to figure out to this point. You see here, Michael Thomas and David Bakhtiari will begin season on the physically unable to perform list. I hope Michael Thomas gets back on the field healthy, starts to prove some people wrong.
Yeah,
but going back to the week 2 matchup, I'm going to have to agree with you here. I'm going to have to give the Dolphins an L here in this week 2 matchup. Josh Allen, I'm not expecting this same season from him as he had last year. Probably it seemed pretty volatile to me. There's so many big plays downfield. But I do believe he's going to be, really effective. He's going to remain in the top 5. He's my QB4 at the moment. But I just think, the amount of talent that this Bills team has and, the smarts of Brian Daboll is probably the league's best counter to this Miami defense. Because, even we saw Kansas City struggled against Miami's defense.
Yeah.
For the entire game minus, 10 minutes.
Minus the time Bobby McCain wasn't there, and it was Clayton White Boy Fedgelon playing free safety against Tyreek Hill. Don't even get me started. And not to mention, the defense all of last season was playing at a disadvantage of having to be on the field for so long because our offense was just putrid. I think our offense would be much improved. So
Yeah.
it'll help.
But yeah, I mean, I've been kind of saying this throughout the season. I'm like hesitant to say this, but like, I don't want to predict a Miami W against like this Bills team until I see it happen, because like I feel like they just outmatch us, kind of like the amount of firepower, and so we're gonna go 1-1
Another
each
rematch
here to start the season. Shout out Danny Henderson.
Danny
So
Boy.
week 3, I tried to avoid putting Fitzpatrick up here because he's not on the team anymore. But I just had to do this play. This play was ridiculous. So, but as we all know, Tua got benched in this game against the Raiders. He wasn't okay. He wasn't dynamic. He wasn't playing bad, but he was not dynamic at all. He was like 16 and 19 for like 80 yards.
He couldn't pull the trigger.
He just couldn't pull the trigger downfield. So Fitzpatrick comes in, throws a couple of deep shots to Gesicki, has this miraculous play. So
the pure joy after this game, I was literally like, there's those moments where you get so energized. It was a Saturday night game, so it's like 11 o'clock, and I'm wired. I literally stayed up for like 3 hours, like just thinking all the craziest things. Yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah, much of the Dolphins fan base was very excited after this game. I was like already looking toward the future. I was like, if we like somehow manage to beat Buffalo next week, like we are going to limp into the playoffs and we are going to get absolutely blasted.
That's the thing. This game was so up and down. I'm like,
yeah,
oh, we're not going to make the playoffs. And then as soon as we won this, I thought we have fucking.
I was like,
I gotta stop cursing. I'm sorry. We have 10 wins. Like we're gonna make the playoffs, and then we just get blasted with the backup. That was putrid.
Yeah. Well, so the Raiders, I have them like really low in my power rankings. I forget exactly where, but I believe it was like the 25, 24 range, maybe even lower. Because I believe a team that gives up the amount of offensive line talent that they did this offseason deserves nothing. I was so confused by some of the moves they made. I'm pretty sure the only starter they retained was Richie Incognito. Yeah. So I mean Colton Miller, who's whatever, but decent enough.
He was good. He improved, and then they got Leatherwood, who's actually shown out. Mm-hmm. I think their line regressed, but they saved some money, and they believe in some of the younger guys, so it'll be interesting to see. But I think people sleep on them a little bit, but they're properly slept on, and to the point that they're not going to be able to compete with that division. I think they're a tough team, but their defense also improved. But I'm going to give the Dolphins the dub here. I think we're probably better coached and more talented, and I think it just comes down to that. And I really think Tua is going to have a much improved year. He's not going to be throwing the ball over the yard, but he's going to be getting the ball out on time and doing what we need to do, and that's just only going to help the defense that was already good. So, and Dolphins done.
Yeah, I agree. Playing this team like earlier in the season will definitely be a help because they were pretty banged up and kind of fatigued toward week 16 last year when they played them. But losing Rodney Hudson, the top 3 center in the NFL in my opinion, over to Arizona, losing Gabe Jackson, and that defense, like they made improvements. They added some new guys, new faces. Ngakoue. I believe they're still a year or two away from being even average. So I'm gonna have to agree with you here. I'm gonna give the Dolphins a W here in week 3. So we're both moving up to 2-1.
We've got the same thing.
Yep. So, and I agree with your point about Tua. I believe I think he's more comfortable. He'll be able to move the ball against. I'm excited to see him play. One of these weaker defenses.
Who's their DC now? Because I know they got rid of the guy who mainly just ran Tampa too. I don't know who their DC is. I can
look it up real quick. Raven.
But it might be the same guy because I think they fired the guy midway through because I think in terms of how they built their team through the offseason, it seems like it's the same kind of guys.
It's currently Paul Gunther. He was a
D-line coach for the Cowboys, I think. Something like that. I don't know. Thought that was it.
I'm not even sure.
But
actually, no. It was not. Actually, no. It's Gus.
But basically, it's going to be like a 4-3. It's a 4-3 base with probably a lot of cover 2. I'm guessing. I don't know.
No, my
or
bad.
Is it Gus Bradley?
Paul Gunther was fired midseason. He was the guy who was fired.
Okay, yeah.
Right now
So
it's
then I
Gus
think they
Bradley.
switched. Yeah, and I think Gus Bradley is heavy Tampa too. So
Yeah, my bad. I searched up Raiders defensive coordinator, and that was the guy who came up. So I don't
so
know
I
what
think it's
to
a lot of
do.
Tampa too. Tua should be able to do better than he did last time, hopefully.
Yeah. So my bad. Google was tripping there. But why don't we go on and move on to week 4, one of the more intriguing matchups of the season. I've been kind of back and forth on this one.
I don't even know who it is. I don't have the schedule down yet.
I'm waiting for the thing but I'll go ahead and say it's Dolphins versus Colts. There we go. Colts at Dolphins. So this
That's
game's
a
at
good
home.
game.
No problem. Colts at Dolphins. I think I don't know if Wentz playing or not makes much of a difference. I believe like they'll play a better game with Wentz in the lineup, but Wentz was just like astronomically bad last year, and we don't know how he's going to perform. I will say if Eason or God forbid Ellinger goes out there, they're going to get pummeled, no matter how good the defense plays, because that offense will score at most like 17 points against Miami with that, and that's a stretch. Eason or Ellinger, I'm not a fan of either of them, especially Ellinger. But if Wentz plays, it's really dependent on like how well he bounces back and Frank with in his reunion with Frank Reich. But all in all, I believe Taylor will have a good game. I believe the running backs will have a good game. But Wentz being, sort of turnover prone, and as we all know, this Miami defense, loves to force turnovers. And even in 2019 during the Tank for Tua season, like this Dolphins team, they came out, they were like 1-7 at the time, something like that.
Against Brissett.
Against Brissett, now a Dolphin. They came out and they played the Colts hard and they beat them. One of my best friends came down from Indiana. He was visiting me. We watched a game together. He was so upset. I was like, man, I'm kind of upset too because
Yeah, I know. I was like,
we're supposed to be tanking. I was like, we're on the same side here, but yeah, but this is obviously a much different Dolphins team, a much different Colts team. Doesn't have Brissett, doesn't have Andrew Luck, a lot of like new faces on this Colts team. They have a very good defense, but in my opinion, the offense is just too much of a question mark to match up very well against this Miami Dolphins defense. So I'm actually going to go ahead and give them another W to start off the season 3-1. And this is like one of my keys to the season. It has to be a fast start if they want to be successful. I think Tua has to come out of the gate. Yeah, I think Tua has to come out of the gate hot. I believe they have to win, hopefully 3 of the first 4 games. I'll be okay with 3 of the first 5. But this is a game I really believe they have to win if they want to make the playoffs.
Yeah, they've been emphasizing that this offseason because that was what held them back from winning it last year. We started off 1-3, and they realized and I think it took time for them to realize they were as good as they were because coming into the season, it was like they got a lot of talent, but are they good yet? And I think now they have the confidence. I think they can start off hot. This game's going to be an absolute dogfight. I think the key to this game, first and foremost, I think Wentz and Reich are going to I think they'll be solid. I think they're actually going to be very good. Wentz will clean up a lot of his errors. But the key to this game is Colts at Dolphins. I think that's a big boost. The Colts are a team that likes to run the rock a lot. Once again, it comes down to run defense, how improved it is. But I like the Dolphins' chances at a home game when the Colts are smothered in heat. But like I said, I think this is dogfight down to the wire type of game. It can go either way. But for the sake of it, I'm giving it a Dolphins dub.
Okay. So we're on the same page. So on the same page.
We got to disagree. We got to disagree at some point.
At some point, it'll probably happen. But yeah, so 3-1 to the first 4 games. That would probably be good for either the division lead or second in the division, depending on how Buffalo and New England start out. But why don't we go into week 5? I actually don't. Here we go. So another very intriguing game. It's a road game, but they're not going very far. There will probably be plenty of aqua jerseys in the stands over there in Tampa. So Tom Brady versus Miami Dolphins once again. I've been dreading this matchup ever since he signed in Tampa. I was like, I know it's going to happen at some point. And so this is a really intriguing matchup. This is definitely the most well-rounded roster in the NFL, without a doubt. Maybe the Chiefs, but Chiefs might have more offensive talent, but the Buccaneers are definitely more well-rounded. Tom Brady, defending Super Bowl champions, tends to struggle against Miami. Miami seems to be the only team that, every now and then has his number. But that's usually in Miami. When Tom Brady plays the Miami Dolphins at home, he often, destroys them. But we haven't seen him in a Bucs uniform take them on yet. So I want to know, what are your thoughts on this game? What's going to happen?
I'm stuck because I want to do something different, and every team's gonna win games. Every team's gonna lose games. Brady does struggle. I mean, I remember vividly when he threw 2 picks to X. I mean, we have the talent on the outside to match up with their stud receivers. Obviously, on paper, the Bucs are the better team, but man, I also think the Bucs are a team that is pass heavy, considering they don't. I mean, who's their running back now? Is it
like it's still Fournette and Jones?
It's not a crazy attack. They have a great line. Just for the sake of being different, and I will compensate down the line in the schedule. Okay, this is not going to stay at the same page, but I'm giving it a Dolphins dub. We're beating the former Super Bowl champs. I think we just match up well, and we can get to. I mean, because when you heat up Brady doesn't like getting heat up. He can obviously diagnose things quickly and get the ball out, but I'm giving it a Dolphins dub right here. Keep it moving.
Oh, so Connor is going to go with a 4-1 start for the Miami Dolphins. So this is where we diverge. This is where we start to disagree.
This is what I mean. I had to do something different. We couldn't stay on the same path.
Yeah, I believe that Miami is a great matchup for Tampa. With Tampa's very, going to be a very pass-heavy team. They have great weapons. I believe Miami's secondary will match up very well against them. But I think the more important matchup here, and it's not a particularly close one, it's the Buccaneers pass rush against the Miami Dolphins offensive line. The Buccaneers have one of, if not the best front fours in the NFL, JPP and Ndamukong Suh. Jesus, I'm forgetting who else.
Vita Vea.
Oh, I was gonna lose my mind if the Dolphins selected Vita Vea back in that draft, and now here he is. He's in my top 100. He's one of the best.
I mean, it's a nose tackle. No one wants to draft a nose tackle.
Exactly.
He went 17th or 14th, something like that.
He actually went before Miami's pick, I believe. I'm not sure. Wow. But Shaq Barrett too. I can't believe I forgot him. Also in my top 100. But
yeah, he's a superstar edge.
I believe this Miami's Dolphins offensive line is just too young to match up against that. They're all veterans, they're all experienced, they're all great players, and I believe
they're gonna get punched in the mouth. I see that for sure.
They're gonna fluster Tua a little bit, and I believe they also have they have the linebacker talent to kind of stick things up over the middle. I believe Levante David will be a great matchup for Gesicki. And I believe they will stifle this Buccaneers offense. I believe they can hold them to around 20 points or so. But I just don't feel confident in our offense being able to move the ball against the Buccaneers defense, which is why I'm going with an L here to drop them down to 3-2.
It's a fair assessment.
But we play another Florida team in week 6. But not
so close to home.
Not so close at home. I hate London games so much. I hate them.
Horrible.
But you got to do it every now and then, I guess. Jaguars play a game a year over there. I would hate to be a fan of that. But is it a 9 a.m. game? I'm not sure.
It is, I think.
It's either 9 a.m. or 11 a.m., something like that.
My dog Mike's been keeping track of it. He's waiting for this week.
Waking up to football is nice. Watching a team play in London, not so nice. But so Brian Forrest against rookie quarterbacks.
Nightmare.
Inexperienced quarterbacks. We saw Justin Herbert have one of his worst games of the season against Miami last year. Justin Herbert, he had the otherworldly rookie season, but he was very much ineffective against that Miami defense. He put up some good. I mean, you look at the stat sheet. I believe he had around 260 yards and a touchdown, maybe 2. But a lot of that came in garbage time when the game was pretty much already decided. He was largely, ineffective in that game, and I believe a lot of that comes down to Forrest and Boyer's scheming. I saw very first drive of the game, or the second drive, I'm not entirely sure, but they ran one of those disguised blitzes that they love to run. You put 7 guys in the box, you rush all of them for a minute, and then 4 guys, they touch an offensive lineman and they drop back. You don't know who's coming. And Herbert, being in this is his 6th or 7th career game, he doesn't know how to react to that. He doesn't know how to diagnose that. He has no clue who's coming. So they run one of those plays. He drops back, and maybe only 3 guys are coming. 4 of them drop back. He has a wide open Keenan Allen out in the flat. He catches that. He's probably taking it to the house, but instead he fires out contested catch. It was way off target, and incomplete third down, fourth. It's now fourth down. Dolphins are going to get the ball back, and as we all know, Dolphins, excel on special teams. The Chargers do not. They have not excelled on special teams since
Oh
like
man.
2006. So, um, so Dolphins. So going back to Dolphins Jaguars in London, I believe Trevor Lawrence. This is going to be his sixth career game, maybe fifth. I'm not sure when their bye is, but I believe he's going to struggle against this Dolphins defense. I believe any rookie quarterback going up against Miami will struggle. It's Mac Jones in week one, why I gave Miami the W in that game. So I'm going to give Miami a W here. Jacksonville, just a one-win team last year. I believe they're going to improve. I believe they'll win, 4, 5, maybe 6 games this year. I don't like the Urban Meyer hiring, in all honesty. I believe Urban Meyer is going to get thoroughly outcoached by Brian Flores in this game. And the Dolphins will come up with a pretty solid W, probably 10, 15 points in that range. So that's what I'm going with here.
I agree with a lot of the points you made. The whole thing with Urban Meyer, a lot of people don't like the hire. It's got potential. It really comes down to how well he delegates in terms of play calling and letting people handle the certain schemes. But yeah, I think the Dolphins, no offense to my dog Mike, big Jags fan. Shout out to Mike.
We love you, Mike.
Yes, but I think the Dolphins are just the better team. The scheme against the rookie QB can't be easy. But you also have to factor in playing in London is just a whole different. So I'll say the Dolphins take a dub, but it's not as pretty as you would like it to look.
Yeah, that's very true.
Just for some respect.
All right, we're going to pick up the pace here a little bit because we only have 28 minutes left in our slot. So going on to week 7, Falcons at Dolphins. By the way, 3:30, we got a fantasy show coming on, so be sure to stick around for that if you want to talk some fantasy.
My draft's tonight. I got to tune in for that.
Ooh, nice. So Falcons at Dolphins. These teams played in the preseason. As we all know, the Dolphins blew them to hell. So this is a home game. Falcons are coming back to Miami. I forget what each of our records are right now. I believe you have them at 5-1.
Jesus.
And I have them at 4-2.
I don't think the Dolphins are actually going to do this well. It's just like I'm trying to maneuver through this.
Be do something different. So Falcons at Dolphins. I just believe that the Falcons defense will be outmatched here, like they were in the preseason. I know that they were playing their second stringers and all that, but I don't believe in the Falcons defense at all this season. And I believe Miami's defense is, talented enough to match up against a very high-powered Falcons offense. Matt Ryan can be a bit turnover prone. I like Eric Rowe going against Kyle Pitts, rookie season. I like that matchup. I like X against Ridley. I like Byron Jones against whoever their number 2 is, Russell Gage or maybe one of the other guys they got in the roster. So I just like this matchup all around. I believe Tua will be able to move the ball effectively. Just play well enough to get the win. I believe that's going to be their mantra to go into this game. It's not going to be a blowout. It's not going to be dropping a 50 burger, but they're going to play well enough just to secure the W, get out of there, and move on to next week. That's going to be the mantra for this game.
That's a shout out Dan for Pitsy. That's a fair assessment. I will say I don't believe too much in the Falcons defense. I think the Dolphins will be able to move the rock with ease. I mean, I don't know if the run game will be too good. Grady Jarrett in the middle is pretty dirty.
Yeah.
But offensively, too, you got Matt Ryan, an experienced quarterback. I think he'll be able to move the rock pretty well. I think the key to this is the fact that despite having Arthur Smith, who just ran the ball every time with Derrick Henry, although Mike Davis is a solid big back, I just don't think they'll be able to run the ball effectively enough to get the Dolphins off their game plan. So with that being said, I think the Dolphins win the game. It won't be a blowout, but I think Dolphins win by a possession or two. Once again, I don't like gassing up the Dolphins as much. I'm trying to. Yeah. I just think they beat the Falcons.
So Connor currently has them at 6-1. I have them at.
Don't make me say it.
I know
that sounds so unrealistic.
I know that seems like a little high at the moment, but we got some pretty tough matchups incoming. So
and this is the thing too. I like doing 1-1 within the division. I can't give them another win. But I gave them a loss to the Bills, so I got to give them a win now. But I can't have them be 7-1. Jesus.
So week 8 Dolphins at Bills rematch of week 17 of last year, which we don't talk about. But I said it earlier. I'm not going to predict a win against the Bills until I see it happen. I just believe they're too much. They're too high powered, and now they're at home, so Josh Allen probably has another field day. Brian Dable probably has everything figured out. So 3 hours in to the stream, let's go. Shout out to everyone who's come on so far. Glad to be here. But thank you,
Shout out to
Danny,
my
for this.
dog,
Yeah.
Dan.
Yes, thank you for the super chat. We love you.
Vinny Van Dan, the pizza delivery man.
Like I said, I'm gonna drop them to 5-3 with this game right here. I believe the Bills just freaking own us. It's annoying. I really want to see a win against the Bills this year, but I don't want to predict it until I see it happen.
So my thing is that in my heart of hearts, I always have us go 500 usually. Besides this year with the Jets are awful. The Jets are not beating the Dolphins once this year. Don't care what you say, Frankie, if you're even still in here, okay? They're not beating the Dolphins. But in my heart of hearts, I think they go 500 within the division. But I also had them beat the Bucks, so they only have one loss, and it's to the Bills. So I probably should have done what you did, give them a loss to the Bucks, and then I would have had them beat the Bills. But for the sake of the record, I'm going to give the Dolphins the loss, although I do think that they can go 500. But yes, as you mentioned, the Bills do currently own us. We just got to hope that our dogs, Boyer and Flores, adjust and get us right so we can finally beat them. But that's yet to be shown. So, Dolphin L.
I think it would be great if, what a redemption arc it would be. Like, if the Bills swept us again. But, this time, you win 10 games, you sneak into the playoff as a 7 seed.
And you punch in the math.
You match up with the Bills in the wild card round, first round of the playoffs as a 2 seed, and then you beat them. I believe that would be great. That would be a great.
I mean, Flores is undefeated in the playoffs as a defensive coordinator. So
Connor. Actually,
I just gave him a loss. Okay, Frankie, chill out. But they're not losing to the Texans, or the Jets. So yeah, 3 more wins.
We'll skip this one. We all know what's happening here. That Texans are winning one game.
What happens if 2 is a Texan? Do the Dolphins lose? I'm kidding. That won't happen. But the Dolphins will still.
We're going to this assuming 2 is the starter throughout the year. So we know what's happening here. Texans are winning 1 game max. It's probably going to be against the freaking Jaguars or something.
No, don't disrespect the Jags like that.
No, I'm pretty sure they play the Jets. Maybe it happens there. Shut up, Frankie.
The thing with the Texans is it would be hilarious because they have half the roster on 1-year deals. It's like Philip Lindsay. Like, they got some guys that they could ball out. Obviously I think they're gonna be trash, but you got a little bit of T-Mobile, some Philip Lindsay. You don't know what could happen. But yeah, Dolphins though.
Yeah, I don't see the Texans winning more than 1 game this year. Even if Watson played, that would bring them from 1 game to 2 wins, 1 win to 2 wins maybe.
Yeah, they're still not good enough.
So yeah, Dolphins dub here. I believe that brings my prediction to 6-3 and Connor's to 7-2.
Something like that.
That feels weird to say.
It's optimistic, okay?
We'll go to.
Oh, good. Another loss I can add. Yes. This is just like the Bills. The Ravens always smack the Dolphins. Splash. Don't need to rub it in, okay? This might be the year, too, okay? This might be the year. Maybe we will only lose 1 game. That could happen. But for the sake of the records and me not looking too much of a homer, I'm going to give the Dolphins an L. But it's not going to look like the last time where we lost by 50 points. That was Flores' first time ever coaching. It ain't going to be that bad. But Lamar Jacksonville going to take the dub.
This is a Thursday night game.
Oh, no.
This is a Thursday night game.
I know that.
Every time I look at the schedule and I see this game, I die a little bit inside. This is going to be Miami's worst loss of the season, without a doubt. In my oh my goodness! Miami, it's a team with very much a very dominant history against Miami. They have probably the best mobile quarterback of all time. They have a very experienced coach. They have a very good defense. They have a very good run game. This is and great special teams. This is Miami's worst matchup on the schedule. The Bills are not going to beat us as bad as the Ravens will this year in either of the games. The Ravens, I think they're going to smack us. I'm just being totally honest here. I like to think of myself as a pretty optimistic Dolphins fan, but when it comes to playing against the Ravens, I'm the biggest pessimist in the Dolphins fan base. I believe they are going to smack us by at least 20 points in this game, and it's not going to look good.
Well, shout out Frankie for the super chat, even though it's disrespectful. It's all good. It's all good. The Dolphins very well could get smacked, but we have to have hope. I think the Dolphins just lose. But generally, when it comes to Thursday night games, unless it was against the Jags, no offense, Mike, we lose them pretty bad. But it's also a new regime. So I think the Dolphins lose, but it's manageable.
So Splash wants some Matt Skura talk. I was kind of surprised at that cut. Not gonna lie. I mean, I've come to accept that Dieter will start. But Skura being cut kind of surprised me. I thought he's at least a better option than Cameron Tom at the backup position. I don't even know if Cameron Tom makes the roster.
It's the guy that we traded for, Greg Mance. I think that's the whole. I think the Dolphins right now, they still make cuts based on projection. So it's not like if you're trying to get the best 53 guys, you keep Skura. But if you rather keep like the guy we traded for, like a younger guy with more potential that you can develop a little more and save money on, like that's the same thing with McKinney. McKinney surprised everyone when you cut him. But when you factor in the fact that Landon Roberts came back fully healthy and they like what they've seen. And, I mean, let's be real. The Dolphins aren't going to run a lot of multiple backer sets. So if we need an extra backer to stop the run, we have a Landon Roberts for $9 million cheaper. We'll do that to stop the run. But you would like to see them get to a point where they're keeping the best guys. But in terms of projections, I'm fine with it. But it definitely came as a surprise.
Mm-hmm. So before we move on to Week 11, I just want to give a little bit of a reminder. Anybody watching, the stream's going to be going on until midnight tonight. We got a whole ton of stuff coming up. Exclusive interview with I believe it's Charles Leno. Correct me if I'm wrong. As somebody in the chat, but multiple shows coming up from different fan bases. And be sure to stick around. Donate. All proceeds going to American Red Cross disaster relief. We appreciate all of you coming out. Appreciate everybody who is donating so far. Shout out to Snacks Harrison, that $2,000 donation.
Jesus.
You're a goat.
What a guy, man.
Yeah. But let's go on to Week 11, where we have the first matchup, I believe. Yep, against
let's go.
Our old friend, the New York Jets. I believe Connor eating a W there. I believe this game will actually be kind of close. The one in the MetLife. I believe this one will be a little bit closer than we would like it to be. But I am going to stick with status quo and go with a win here.
I think the only way the Dolphins lose this game is if the turf monster at MetLife eats all our players. I've said this, and until I'm proven wrong, I'm going to double down on this. When Flores has faced these zone run schemes from McVay to Shanahan to he hasn't faced LaFleur that I can fully remember, but the Rams in the Super Bowl, he schmacked. Last year, the 49ers, despite them being banged up, they still had Jimmy G for a half. They had Kittle. He was banged up, but he smacked them. He's got the recipe to beat these offenses, and those are the A+ versions of them. They have, I think it's Mike LaFleur is their OC. I think he's got a lot of potential. He's young, but I don't think he's gonna offer more than the two guys I just mentioned. I think Flores is gonna have the answers, or Flores and Boyer are gonna have the answers to that offense. I think the Dolphins win by 10 points at least. And that defense is going to be the cover 3. I mean, our O-line's bad, but it's not that bad.
Yeah. So I believe at the moment I have them at 7-4, and you have them at 8-3. I believe.
Wait. Let's have a moment of silence for Reed Sennett. Just got waived.
Oh, Reed Sennett just got waived. Crap.
He's preseason legend. We appreciate you, Reed. You probably end up on the D squad. We appreciate you.
Kings wave, Reed Sennett. Yeah, he's probably going to be in the practice squad. Yeah, I was actually kind of impressed. I did not expect that out of him. Going on to Week 12, I believe I have him at 7-4. You have him at 8-3 at the moment. Correct me if I'm wrong. You have 2 losses to the Bills and a loss to
the
Ravens. But I believe you predicted a win for every other game. So Panthers at Dolphins. Dolphins facing their old friend Sam Darnold.
Sammy.
Yeah, I do not believe in. I like the Panthers. I love Matt Rule. I like what Matt Rule is building there.
I agree.
I just don't love the quarterback situation. It's similar to Denver. I hate Vic Fangio for Denver. I believe Denver has the worst quarterback head coach combo in the NFL. But I don't believe in Sam Darnold at all. I believe he'll be marginally better than he was in New York, but he's still, very turnover prone. You put pressure on him, he's going to fold. And I believe the Dolphins will be able to put a significant amount of pressure on him. and come out of here with the W.
For the sake of being different, I'm going to give the Dolphins the L. Okay? The Panthers, I do think it could be a rebirth for Donald. Obviously, the Dolphins have made him look like the worst quarterback of all time, which is pretty close to being. But I think he could have a little bit of a rebirth. You got CMC, you got good weapons on the outside. Their defense is improved. It's not great, but it's got some pieces. Like I said, for the sake of being different, I think on paper the Dolphins are better, but I gave the Dolphins a tough dub to the Bucs. Might as well toss them an L here. Dolphins L. But the Panthers are a good team. I think they're up and coming. They could actually take this game.
All right, so that brings us to each at 8-4. So through 12 weeks. So why don't we move on to week 13, where we have.
I thought we played at 17, but I guess not.
Giants at Dolphins. So the last time these two teams met, I believe this is the game right here. It was a Monday Night Football game. I believe Miami came out on top.
Was it this game? I think the last time we played was.
No, it was
his first year.
No, yeah, it was a 5-11 season. My bad.
There was a horrible call and Flores flipped out. Or no, that was the Jets game. I don't fully remember what happened. It was definitely our tanking year.
Yeah, it was the 5-11 year. That's my bad. We did lose that.
I remember this game though.
Yeah,
that was when OBJ took the double move.
Oh yeah, but I wonder who's going to be at quarterback for the Giants this far into the season. Is it still going to be Danny Dimes? Is it going to be somebody else?
I think it's going to be Daniel Jones. We don't need to disrespect him that much. He's been a beast for me in Madden this year. I'll tell you that much.
I don't believe in Daniel Jones at all. Sorry, Giants fans, but
I think he's their only option.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, they don't really have any other better options at the moment. But I'm gonna go with another W here, bringing them to 9-4. I just don't like that Giants offense really that much. I like the defense. I love Joe Judge. I love what he's building, but I see a lot of similarities between them and this current Miami Dolphins regime. Last year, they had one of the worst rosters in the league, and they still eked out 6 wins. I don't believe they're going to take the jump that Miami did. I don't believe they made enough personnel moves in order to do that. But I believe they will improve. They'll probably win, 7, maybe 8 games. But I don't see them taking this one. I'm going to go ahead and give it up to Miami, which will bring them up to 9-4.
I think a big key to this is Giants at Dolphins. I think that benefits the Dolphins a lot. Later in the season, it's still going to be hot. The Giants are definitely improved. I think Daniel Jones will improve. I'm not saying he's going to be great, but I think he'll improve. Saquon's coming back healthy. That's a very, very big threat if we can't stop the run. They got Kadarius Toney, Galladay. Galladay doesn't worry me too much. I think X can get that covered. I think the Dolphins win this game, but I think it could be a dogfight. But them having Pat Graham at DC, I think Flores might be able to help out the offense a little bit, screw them up a little bit. So I think it's a game Flores takes personal, trying to beat his old buddy Pat Graham, and he was with Judge in New England, so I think the Dolphins win this game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fair to say.
So we're both going to 9-4 at the moment. We go to week 14. We're sweeping the Jets, right?
I genuinely don't think the Dolphins are going to be this good, but hey, maybe we will.
You just got to wait for these last 3 weeks. It's a very rough.
Okay, yeah, I don't have the schedule memorized, so
we agree that we're sweeping the Jets, right?
Yeah, Jets suck.
Okay,
undefeated against the Jets.
So both at 10-4 going into week 14. So let's go right into week 15. This is my game that I'm just not that confident in. It's a game that we could win, but I just don't see it happening.
I agree. I think being in NOLA too definitely hurts.
Mm-hmm.
That's a loud crowd, and I think
Jameis is going to be great.
That's what I mean. I think Jameis is literally going to be an improvement of what Brees has been the past 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe if Jameis's eyes aren't working that day, the surgery kind of reverses. He throws a couple picks. But you got Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas might be back by then. They got a great defense causing Tua problems. I agree with you. I think the Dolphins lose this game.
You got a little bit of a nice trade going on there. Vikings are trading for Chris Herndon.
Didn't Irv Smith get hurt? So that makes sense.
I guess it makes sense for them. I was banking on drafting Irv Smith in all of my fantasy leagues this year. and I haven't gotten him in any because he keeps getting stolen from me, and now I'm kind of glad
Usually
that
I
he
go
did.
tight end high in fantasy this year, but I don't know if
Really.
I can pull it off this year, man.
I love
But
getting Mark Andrews. I haven't gotten him yet either.
maybe Chris Herndon can finally
Do
live up to
something.
the hype that Jets fans have been putting him under forever.
Chris Herndon can do
Captain
something.
Kirk. Catch some
Um,
footballs? I don't know.
all right, so we're both at 10-5. So this is actually week 17. I messed up a little bit while making the
Yeah,
slideshow.
it's trippy. It's trippy.
Our bye is week 14. So I just totally forgot that the bye week existed. At Tennessee Titans. You know what? I've been back and forth on this game so many times. So many times. I'm going to give us an L here. I believe Derrick Henry is either going to go for 200 yards or he's going to go for 40 yards. I don't know which one it's going to be, but
I think we'll know going into the game based on our run defense in the past. But I agree with you. I'm giving them an L. I think this team matches up so well to beat the Dolphins defense because you're going to have to load the box to stop Derrick Henry. And the Dolphins love to play that cover one or cover zero for that matter. And run the ball, hit us with the play action, A.J. Brown or someone else over top, Julio. Forgot they had Julio. I think it's just a nightmare matchup in terms of the Dolphins like to get to third down, play pass defense. Mm-hmm. I don't think you can do that against the Titans. You have to focus on stopping the run every single down. So I'm going to give the Titans a dub here as well.
Yeah. So we're going to 10-6, each of us. That matches the record from last season. So, I say that's
we both said the dub against the Giants, Dan. I'm sorry to let you down, boss, but come on now.
All right, so 10-6 going into the final game, week 18. Again, my apologies. I messed up on making the slideshow. I had to put the Miami Miracle up there, even though Kenyon Drake isn't on the team anymore. But
this is like what happened after the Raiders game, like the pure exhilaration. Like I've never felt anything like that. Like just you don't know what to do with yourself in the next 3 hours. You're just like in complete shock and happy. It's great, but that was also shortly last. You thought the Dolphins might have made the playoffs, but
nope. So this is another game that I frequently go back and forth on. Do we sweep the Patriots? Do we not? Do we get swept by the Patriots? Do we split it? I'm gonna say we split it. So ending the season on 3 straight losses is obviously not ideal, but that's why I say you get off to a fast start because you got that brutal end of your stretch. So starting off 10-4 would be great. Going into the playoffs, losing 3 straight games obviously doesn't bode well for anyone. Probably don't win a playoff game if that happens, in all honesty. I believe they can win this game, but I believe at this point, Mac Jones will have progressed enough in order, and, Bill Belichick will come up with some sort of crazy game plan. And, obviously this Miami team has a little bit of, health concerns up and down the board. They'd probably be a little bit banged up. I'm being pretty pessimistic here, I admit, but I believe 10-7 is a good season. It should be enough to get back in the playoffs. If they win 10 games, and miss the playoffs again, I will lose my mind.
I'm going to disagree with you here. And this literally goes against everything I'm saying. I like going 500 within the division, but I had us getting swept by the Bills, and I'm going to have a sweep in the Patriots because in Miami, week 17, playoff spot potentially on the line, home field advantage. I think, and especially New England always struggles in Miami, man. I think
that's a very.
I think the offense is going to be much improved. And the defense is always going to be nasty. I give the Dolphins a dub here, punching their tickets in the postseason, hopefully with an 11-6 record.
Yeah,
if that doesn't get in, I gave us 6 losses after starting off 7-1. I'm pretty proud of myself.
Yeah. All right. So I believe that's it for that slideshow. So final record predictions. Myself, I'm going 10-6. Connor's going 11. No, not 10-6. 10-7.
We're tripped out, though.
Yeah. Connor's going 11-6. I'm going 10-7 for.
Okay.
So
throw some questions in the chat, you guys, to answer if you have any.
Yeah, that too. If you have any questions, feel free to chat us up. We'll do a little bit of Q&A. But in the meantime, Splash Henry or whoever's producing right now, if you could somehow find a way to throw up some of the roster cuts that have been going on with Miami.
What's your thoughts on McKinney? Because you didn't really.
Yeah, Bernard McKinney, that was the big one. We discussed Matt Scurry a little bit, but the other big one was Bernard McKinney. I'm going to be honest, I really don't like that move. I think he was going to be a very good presence. I believe he was going to be a very good run stuffer. But and when that happened, like my initial reaction was maybe Eguavon took his job after he showed out in the preseason because he had 4 sacks against Atlanta. He had the safety, and he also played really well against the Bengals. He was top 5 and among the defenders in PFF grading. But the reports coming out was that Landon Roberts comes off the physically unable to perform list, and they were very impressed by him. So I don't know if this was just like a case of McKinney like regressing and like not being as good as he's shown to be in previous years, or
What I think it is that it's because the Dolphins defense, they do a lot of it by just rolls.
Mhm.
So, like for example, last year Brandon Jones was like basically just a big nickel guy. He was the third safety. I think McKinney, they were trying to see maybe he'll fit into more than just being a run stopper. But once he was only that, and we have a cheaper option in Landon Roberts, you might as well keep the cheaper option and then keep a guy like Eguavon who provides different. He can rush the passer. He can play pass coverage because he's got some speed. So he provides more versatility plus special teams. Whereas McKinney was, for us, he's probably strictly just going to be a run stopper. So you might as well keep the cheaper option. Yeah. But see, I can't tell if I like it or if I don't like it with the Dolphins' ability to just turn players over. It's like I like that they're willing to see if something works and move on from it. But at the same time, you want to see players they get and stick with. But like I said, like there's also a nice part of it, them being able to realize this wasn't the best move. Let's cut bait while we can and save money.
Mm-hmm.
Carl Joseph cut for the Raiders. Wow.
Oh, really? Again?
Big box safety. Wait, I thought he was a Brown. I'm confused.
No,
John Johnson.
He went back to the Raiders now.
Oh, wow.
I'm looking at Omar Kelly's Twitter right now, seeing if there's anything.
Mike asked who will be the offensive rookie of the year and defensive rookie of the year for the Dolphins. Offensive rookie of the year
it has to be Waddle. Like his competition is Eichenberg and and Hunter Long, who's going to be playing.
I don't think Hunter Long will be able to. I say
Eichenberg probably doesn't take the right tackle spot until midseason if he doesn't start week 1. And I just believe Waddle will have like much more of an impact than any other offensive rookie in this class.
That's a fair point. But whose job do you think Eichenberg more likely to take? Jesse Davis's or Austin Jackson's? I mean, shit.
I don't think they've tested him at left tackle.
I guess they're more confident than we are in Austin Jackson. So yeah, I'll go with Waddle for offense. Defense, I'm gonna go. It's basically between I feel like Jalen and Javon. I'm gonna go Javon. I think he'll get more. I think he's gonna be basically day 1 starting safety. So
yeah, I believe Jalen Phillips. He's gonna be he's gonna start out as kind of like a rotational pass rusher. We get the cuts coming up here, but
also another guy who made a nice play in the preseason gone. Kyle Loxley, not a surprise.
Kyle Loxley. I'm gonna go with Javon Holland too. I think he's just gonna Jalen Phillips will he's more substance and flash, but when talking like rookie of the year, like right now you're gonna be looking for the flash, and I believe Javon Holland is gonna be making the big plays. I said this many times. I believe like that that safety position, it's gonna be a little bit of a downgrade from what it was last year with Holland playing his rookie season from Bobby McCain. But I believe Holland eventually, like as time goes on, he will bring more to the table than McCain ever could. I love Bobby McCain. I believe he's going to do great in Washington. But I think Holland will be an upgrade.
Holland will be able to get that ball production fly from sideline to sideline a little better.
Yeah. So Khalil McLean, he had a great game against Cincinnati. Jordan Scarlett, not really surprised. Nate Holloway, not surprised either.
Oh, man, I'm scared between Patrick Laird and
Patrick Laird and Jared. Do you think Jared Dokes did enough? Do you think Jared Dokes did enough against Cincinnati to secure a roster spot?
I think he looked good, but I also think that the touchdowns look like juiced. He got the ball at the 1 yard line, ran it in, which there's value in that. But
yeah,
I don't know what it is. I just love Patrick Laird. He's just like, and he's probably better at special teams. He's provides receiving and blocking value, but Jared Dokes is young. It's one of the two. One of them's gone, one of them's staying. I think the Dolphins keep Laird. I think Dokes is gone. But
Dokes goes to practice squad, probably.
Yeah.
All right. So they also released Robert Foster with an injury settlement. Carl Tucker is gone. Thank goodness he sucked. Roger McKinney, we Bernard McKinney, we talked about that one a little bit. Bit of a surprise, but I guess it makes sense. I mean, I'm preparing myself for 50 inside linebacker blitzes a game with Baker and Roberts. But I believe Matt Collins has secured his roster spot.
I think he did. Well, that's the thing. I was like, oh, everyone who's benched, their roster spot's safe, and then Bernard McKinney gone.
Yeah,
I was like, dang, you're gonna sit him for the preseason and then just send him to the moon.
Yeah,
but I think considering like even like Jakeem Grant, them all being sat for that makes me think that their spot's safe.
Yeah, Jakeem Grant's probably safe. Matt Collins probably safe. I'm trying to think about like who else we talked about. Kirk Merritt, I really hope he stays in the practice squad. I wonder what they're gonna do.
Makes the team maybe.
Yeah,
but, I mean,
I wonder what they're gonna do with Trill Williams.
Also, that's another guy. Like those two guys, I hope they make the team. They're deep rooms, but
if Trill Williams gets waived, he probably doesn't make it to the practice squad. Somebody probably picks him up.
He's getting signed.
Yeah, so that's another interesting thing there. But all right, so we've been here for an hour, so our time is just about up. We appreciate everybody coming out. Once again, be sure to donate in the links below in the description. Donate. All proceeds going to hurricane relief.
You guys are high with all your rankings.
Frankie, I'll square up.
You guys are really high. What are you guys smoking down in Florida? Whatever it is, you could send some up to New York. I'll gladly.
I'm literally in New Jersey.
Neither of us are in Florida. I'm in North Carolina. So
I had 11-6. It's not that bad.
11-6. You realize Zach Wilson's in the division now, right? And so is Josh Allen. Now you have Mac Jones. You guys are screwed, man.
You guys, the defense we got.
I had 10-7. So I believe upgraded roster in basically the same amount of win total last year. I think that's pretty reasonable.
Time, baby.
But like I said,
you got to wait. Hold on. I just want to make sure before I start with fantasy time with Stefan. Frankie Fantasy's here. We're doing fantasy time. You guys do not want Deshaun Watson. Is that what I've heard?
I don't want.
It's so complicated. I don't want him right now. I don't want in this moment. I don't want him right now. 4 weeks ago, I wanted him. At the beginning of training camp before the preseason.
But for the situation, don't want him.
I said earlier, if Tua, doesn't progress this season, if we end up being wrong about him, I believe then pull the trigger. Give him whatever they need, because I believe Watson on the Dolphins makes him an instant Super Bowl contender. But doing it 2 weeks before the season just doesn't make sense in my eyes, because you got to get acclimated to the playbook, the culture. You got to get to know your teammates, and it's just a super weird move to make. At this point, when you already have the guy who you believe to be your franchise quarterback on the roster.
So for 2 first-round picks right now, I'm calling you guys up. 2 first-round picks for Deshaun Watson. I'm Nick Casario. You're not taking that right now, Justin.
2 first-round picks. That's a good deal. That's a good deal.
Someone's smart here, Connor. I don't know what happened to you, man.
If it's just 2 first-round picks,
let's go. Do you want to meet him at the massage parlor, Frankie? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I actually do. I would love to. Does anyone that needs a massage? It's me these days.
If it's just 2 first-round picks, then I'll consider it.
Those allegations are true, though. I mean, it's just too sketchy for 2 weeks before the season to just flip your whole team upside down like that. If he had no legal problems, absolutely make that deal. But I'm saying no.
Oh, update. The Dolphins have just agreed to a restructured contract.
I'll see you guys later.
See you, Frankie. All right, so just one last thing right before we go. The Dolphins have just agreed to a restructured contract with Jakeem Grant, so he will be staying on the team. I believe he's probably taking a pay cut or something like that. Please don't see the field on offense this year. That being said,
an occasion, jet touch pass, you feel me?
That being said, donate. Like I said, all proceeds are going to hurricane relief. We got the fantasy people coming up, so shout out to Birch Bombs and Fantasy Frankie who's coming up. We will see you guys this weekend. Hopefully, we'll be going through the entire season. We'll be protecting the entire NFL's record, hopefully. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for coming on. Shout out to Henry. Shout out to Splash for producing this. Shout out for having us on. And we will see you guys this weekend. Have a good day.
Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you guys coming out.